Hi everybody, it's Aluna Michaels, Esoteric Astrologer. Sorry about that, something wrong with the camera. And I am here talking to you about the events of March 2017. And there's so much to talk about. Okay, let's get started. Now, we just came through the end of February where we had that new moon eclipse, right? And that was at about 9 degrees of Pisces. In case you have anything there in your chart, early Pisces. Not to go over too much about last month, but the sun and moon, conjuncted, and that was the 26th of February. And so that's kind of, new moon eclipses are like in these new beginnings, but it can be all mysterious, and eclipses in general can feel a little weird, right? And then at the same time, at the end of February, we had Mars and Uranus in Aries conjuncting and opposing Jupiter. And even the moon, then after the moon was in Pisces, it went into Aries. So it was like all this So the eclipse is kind of like, what's happening? Where am I going? And that Mars, Uranus, moon, Jupiter, it can be like so many possibilities. You get a little bit dizzy, But hopefully there's been a lot of inspiration coming out of that time. I had a very bizarre experience of inspiration, a very surprising source that came to me, and just kind of allowing that to be, if it does seem a surprising source of inspiration, or just kind of taking that step and then seeing where the next step takes you, so just moving ahead as we get into this early March. We're coming out of that, or coming on the heels of that. So that being said, this being early March right now, and you might be watching early March, we've also got now the sun moving close to Neptune. The eclipse itself was fairly close enough to Neptune to be a little, again, even more eclipsy, because that Neptune is as mysterious as an eclipse, But the sun's in Pisces, and Neptune rules Pisces, right? It's connected to Pisces. So having the sun next to Neptune in Pisces, it can be very visionary, but it can be also facing your fears, feeling unsettled about things. And the thing here is that, to this hopefully inspiration you got at the end of February doesn't get second guessed by that sun Neptune. Is that a good idea, or should I, or how am I gonna? It's like, just again, letting the Mars and Aries that's still there next to Uranus, like, go for it, do it, do some step, and have the sun and Neptune be more of a belief, a faith, that I'm going to try it, I'm going to do it, we're going to see where this does go, instead of questioning yourself too much, trusting that you have made this, something did happen, there has been a shift, even if it seems like a quirky shift, we're doing it, So don't let that sun and Neptune make you, double back or get lethargic. You need to take some sort of action, and then there'll be clarification as you go, okay? So that's that sun and Neptune. Now, here's the big thing to talk about. Well, there's a few things, but one of the bigger things is Venus retrograde. Yay? Hesitant yay for Venus retrograde. It's retrograding in Aries. Now, Venus doesn't retrograde very often. Mars and Venus, it's not like Mercury going all the time, And Venus is going to retrograde, I'll tell you. It's starting on March 3rd, and then it's going to April 14th. And for those kind of people that like to know when it catches up with itself, that's going to be May 19th. But for the most part, we're talking about most of March and half of April that Venus is retrograde. It's going to go backwards, starting at 13 degrees of Aries, goes back to 27 degrees of Pisces, about 26, 27 degrees. And then again, it will hit that 13 degrees of Aries again in the middle of May, like I'm saying. So if you've got anything in late Pisces, to the middle part of Aries, you're going to have this Venus going backwards over those planets. Or look for the house that it's going backwards in, or the houses. It could cross through a house backwards as it does that, or the angles that it's going to make when it does that. Now, Venus has a really interesting pattern that it will retrograde the same portion every 8 years. So I think if we look at the last time Venus retrograded at this point in Aries, it did it at 15 degrees of Aries instead of 13, and that was in March of 2009. So it's a little complicated to get into with the video, but every time Venus will go retrograde, And let me just see something here, like just to give you for instance, but it isn't like it goes retrograde every 8 years, but when it does, you say, what's 8 years ago? And so what house did it retrograde in 8 years ago? It's doing that now. Looking at relationships for the past 8 years and your interactions with people, which is Venus, sense of self-love, finances, and financial goals. You know, that this Venus retrograde cycle, this particular one we're tapping into, is about having the courage to love, having the passion to say, I have the worth to make the money, or to make a change in job, that I'm feeling more valued at a new job, or things like this, where you're combining that idea of courage, which is Aries, with Venus, which is money, love, and again self-love too. So you want to try to combine those things and look at, where have I fallen short of a goal? How do I need to put a new goal in place? Praising yourself for the changes you have made over the past 8 years. I know it can be a little weird to think, what did happen 8 years ago? But some people keep journals, or you just remember an event and you say, oh yeah, or you've been with somebody for 9 years and they go, oh, we were together for a year at that point, or something like that. Or you remember a relationship kind of difficult that happened at that time that you've ended, and you said, what was the pattern there, and how could I improve upon that? Is that theme coming up again? Or even a job you had, or something like that could have gone on that time ago. So this Venus retrograde, it's not a bad time for relationships at all. In fact, starting a new relationship can be very deep and karmic and very healing, but it's it's a time to examine relationships and the motives for relationships, and again, are you getting the needs met that you're looking for, and are your goal is here, and then you're doing this, you're not going to get to the goal, So the Venus retrograde says, oh, stop doing that. If you want to go over here, you got to go over here, this way, and do this, So Venus is reminding you the angle you want to, the road you want to be on. Kind of like the Mercury retrogrades do that too. All the retrogrades remind you of, are you getting where you want to go with that particular theme of that planet, okay? So again, don't be like, Venus retrograde. But it can be a little confusing, because you can say, gosh, how come I'm here again? I want to be over there. So readjusting your compass of your heart to this Venus retrograde. Now, the other things are, if we're talking about this eclipse in Pisces we just had, and even the Sun and Neptune working close together. Oh, and I forgot to mention also that Mercury will go close to Neptune, and that will be like the first weekend of the month, like the 4th or 5th. And that can also be a little confusing, because Mercury's your thinking and Neptune can be confusing, but it can also be visualizing the goal, just like the Sun and Neptune. So, but there's this time where it's a little bit cloudy or conceptual rather than I'm doing it. I'm preparing to do things is part of that Neptune, the best part of Neptune, right? So when we're coming out of that kind of Neptune fog, or the dream state, or the visualization state, we still have that Mars still in Aries, which is, doing it, go for it, for the beginning of the month it's there. And then Mercury's going to go into Aries later in March, and that will be on the 14th. And then of course Sun goes into Aries on the 21st. So there's a lot of, planning and then doing. You still might be on that high if you kind of caught on with the eclipse at the end of February, and then that Mars and Uranus there was again like that oomph, and then you can use these Sun Neptune, Mercury Neptune is even more fine-tuning and keep going, like not that you needed to stop or get confused necessarily, but more of the stuff going into Aries is like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, I can do it, I can make that dream come true, I can live from that, or I can deal with this issue in the relationship, or speak to somebody about how we both wish it to be, and cooperating and seeing that we're both in this together. Now, that can be a great thing about the Venus retrograde in Aries, and then combining it with Mercury going into Aries and the Sun into Aries, like we're comrades in this together. We're not fighting at each other with the problems. We're confronting our own blocks in the relationship and moving them out and mastering them, So that's a great way to look at all those planets being in Aries. Now, Mars will go into Taurus on the, can't read my handwriting here, the 10th, okay? Can't read glasses. Mars going into Taurus is very stabilizing too, because sometimes a lot of stuff in Aries is like, lots happening, go, 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 go. And that Mars and Taurus going in, as the Mercury and Sun are going into Aries, that Mars and Taurus is calm, steady effort. Because one of the not so great parts of Aries, it's very like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and then no, I'm not doing it anymore. Got boring or whatever. So Mars going into Taurus helps you sustain that enthusiasm. So the Pisces and Neptune are giving you the vision of wow, or the dream, and visualizing the goal. Aries is like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and I am doing it. And then Taurus says, and I keep doing it, So that really helps with all that timing of kind of peeling off the layers of confusion if you're having confusion, doing it with the Aries stuff. And then if you feel a little bit jazzed up by too much Aries, you get the Taurus coming in to kind of make it a little more calm. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's see what else we can see here. Let me just see one thing. Okay, seems pretty easy with the moons. I hadn't looked at that. Okay. Otherwise, I think it's going to feel a lot smoother. Another thing just I wanted to mention is as the Sun is still in Pisces and Mercury's in Pisces, those guys are going to be connecting with Pluto, and that can be, Pluto, it's going to be a sextile, so it's a real supportive energy from Pluto, which is again one of those sustaining planets, and saying even if it feels like a dream, it can happen, or bringing certain components in that make it again more real, so that you're not just pie in the sky. It actually can happen. So that's also supporting that dream, and again also having that combination of the dream and the action for the dream, and dream and action, and let March be like that. So okay, great. And I wanted to say, if you'd like to do a session with me, please reach out to me. My cell phone is 248-583-1663. Of course, my website is alunamichaels.com. And have a wonderful month of March. And, you may want to do, if you are somebody who remembers relationship issues and things like that over the past 8 years, to be able to see that you're releasing the pain of that, you're integrating the wisdom from those experiences, and moving on to even higher and better. And it can be a great time to be, again, being courageous to open your heart to the love that other people can bring you, that you can bring yourself, and the abundance of the universe. So I will talk to you next month, and bye for now.